Hey, how does a writer make $1 million income? How does somebody who writes words on paper or on a screen create a business out of their spare bedroom and make it into $1 million a year business? It's worth noting that these principles that I'm going to share with you today will work for any kind of business, any kind of freelancer, or any business owner, I believe, on the planet. I'm going to get to the tactical stuff, which will be things like how do you get paid? How do you know how much to charge? How do you find clients? I'm going to get to all of that, but we got to cover some basics first because these are important distinctions. These are important filters that you have to use to get to the point where you can charge the kind of rates you must charge to be able to make $1 million a year. I call these the 3 prosperity principles. I teach them in a workshop I'm doing. That's what spurred this, by the way. What spurred this whole idea for this podcast is I've got this workshop I do called Copywriting is $1 Million Business. I'm not here to try to sell you that, although we have seats available. If you want one, great, let me know. But we sold out our first workshop that we've done in over 3 years, and we've got a second one we just opened up. So lots of people are asking questions about, well, how does this work? How is it even possible? So that's what made me think, I should share the story with people about how I've done this so that at least, even if you can't come to the workshop, at least you can learn how to do it and start working on your own $1 million business or $100,000 a year business. For most people, $100,000 a year would totally change your life. You'd quit your job and go do what you want to do. I want that for you. So we start with these 3 prosperity principles. Prosperity principle number 1, you must discover yourself. Here's a fantasy that most writers and most independent creators, like photographers, videographers, and even startup entrepreneurs, most of them operate under this fantasy. The fantasy goes like this. I sit down in a room by myself and secretly create a masterpiece, and someone comes along and discovers me. Some publisher, some agent, some startup investor, angel person. And they give me a lot of money and I'm free to keep on creating in my mad scientist laboratory. And that's a great fantasy, but that's what it is. It's a fantasy. It never works that way. Almost never. The chances of you being discovered like that fantasy describes, are more slim, less likely to happen than you being struck by lightning on the very day of your winning ticket in the Powerball being in your pocket that day. It's never going to happen. So instead of waiting for somebody to discover you and catapult you to riches and fame, you've got to discover yourself if you want to engineer this thing to make it work for yourself. And people ask, what does that mean? It means you discover yourself and you announce to the world, I am here. I have something of value to give you. Marketing is not something dirty or manipulative if done right. It's communicating persuasively, strategically, in a way that influences people's opinions and their minds and hearts. It's not even selling. It's changing mindsets. And then when the day comes, you offer them something to buy, they'll be inclined to buy because they agree with the ideas that form the foundation of what you're selling. What does it mean to discover yourself? It means you have to identify what makes you different, that you add to this common craft of writing that makes you a distinctly uncommon voice in a crowded sea of writers. That's the magic. That's what we spend the 3 days on in the workshop. Prosperity principle number 2, you must promote yourself. But don't promote yourself in an obnoxious way. Do it in a way that starts with you offering value. You must realize that you're not actually in the writing business. You're in the business of You Incorporated and promoting You Incorporated. It is your unique personality. And by the way, this is why you have to promote yourself and not just a bland, generic company name. You have to promote you, the person. It's because of your personality and the fascinating persona that you share with the world that shapes how the world sees you. And you do this right, and it makes you an irresistible character to your perfect customer, your right fit customer. And you do it wrong and it repels your right fit customer. So you have to be careful how you do it because this is what fascinates people. Think about people you follow online. Why do you follow them? Because you're fascinated by them. You want to know about what they do, how they do it, what's their life like. You want the behind the scenes look at their business. These are the people that you're interested in knowing more about. Let's move on to prosperity principle number 3. You must get over yourself. Let me get this disappointing stuff out of the way right up front. Number 1, this approach may require a readjustment of what you think of as craft. This kind of writing that I do is very specific. It's direct response copywriting. This is copy meant to result in a sale, to sell stuff. It's copy that moves the reader to buy. Personally, I find the craft of writing sales copy to be endlessly fascinating and fun and rewarding because I'm only ever writing for things I believe in. for products I believe in, for people I believe in, and for a purpose I believe in. Point number 2, my approach is not an instant income strategy. So if you're looking for instant income, you need to look elsewhere. This is a whole system of writing as a business. It's taken me years to figure out and build it up. I'm able to pass on some hard-won lessons like those in this podcast, which I believe may considerably shorten your learning curve. You can go faster than I did. And because of technology, because of AI now, because of Chat GPT and the miracle of artificial intelligence, you can go much faster than I did. Point number 3 on this third prosperity principle of getting over yourself, there is more than one way to have $1 million business as a writer. Another writer I know raked in $1 million last year writing content, white papers, and annual reports for big corporations. That's all she does. As I said, my way is not the only way, but it is a way. It's worth noting that though the kinds of writing differ, the basic ideas I share apply to every wealthy writer I know. Point number 4, in my experience, $1 million writing business means you're selling more than just writing. You'll probably find it necessary to offer products and services that are not strictly writing, but which you would not be able to sell without your foundational work as a writer. Point number 5, this whole endeavor requires me to use a 4-letter word that's going to offend some people. W-O-R-K. Did he say it? I have to work? Yup, you got to work. You got to put in the effort. This is a glimpse behind the curtain of $1 million writing business, and you may or may not like what you see. Then again, you may find it encouraging to know there is a proven path to prosperity as a writer. You can follow the path, and you can do this. Maybe I should not have led with this, but I got to tell you the truth up front, and I think it's an encouraging truth. Because if I tell you it takes work, you understand this is real. And it makes me think of one of my favorite quotes from Jim Rohn. And Jim wrote this about the miracle of the seed. He says, the miracle of the seed and the soil is not available by affirmation. It is only available by labor. The greatest form of maturity is at harvest time. That is when we must learn to reap without complaint if the amounts are small, and to reap without apology if the amounts are big. You must either get good at sowing in the spring or begging in the fall. The soil says, don't bring me your need, bring me your seed. Let's talk about how I get paid as a $1 million writer. Statistics show that less than 3% of people will make any money at all as a writer. Less than 1% will make over $100,000. So this is very unusual what I'm talking about. I didn't really make $1 million last year. The actual number was closer to $1.2 million. The second thing to know is I didn't get to keep most of it. Where did it go? Well, these are choices I made. You don't have to do it this way. I'm going to recommend you don't. But a lot of places is where it went. The IRS and the state of Washington got their portions, of course. Then there are payroll taxes, Social Security, etc., employee salaries, affiliate commissions, vendors and independent contractors, because we do a lot of different stuff, and we're building some new divisions of the company. There are the medical expenses that I incurred because of my inconvenient neurological disorder, Parkinson's disease. Plus, we finished paying off consumer debt not long ago, which was at its height was over $400,000. I'm actually kind of embarrassed by this, but I learned a lot through the mistakes that I made to get there and how hard it was to work my way out. And I actually reached a point where I was getting close to Dave Ramsey's ideal. I had 3 to 6 months worth of money in the bank savings. I had everything paid off. We were growing the business, and then along came surgery, and then along came COVID, and then along came Parkinson's disease, not in that order. But there was a reason why Dave Ramsey has you say that emergency fund, and I learned the reasons why. Anyway, maybe more about that if you come to the workshop. Product sales are far and away our biggest source of revenue right now. These include high-ticket items, $1,000 and up, sold mostly via a product launch formula style launch, like Jeff Walker, who invented the PLF, product launch formula, method of launching products online. That's what we do. We do advertising. We purchase solo email campaigns. We have organic website traffic. We roll all that up into a systematic way of marketing our products, and we sell them. Then there's the Day with Ray consulting. I do Day with Ray instead of a retainer-based consulting deal because I like to have a single meeting and get the work done and be creative and think up good ideas for my clients and then have them go do the work and not have me do it. That's just my preference. You can build this the way you want. So I meet with a single client or their team. I require a meeting like this before I have a private copywriting engagement for any client. I don't do very many of those anymore, but if I do one for you, you have to have a Day with Ray consulting day with me. This is $15,000 up front if you come to Spokane, Washington, where I live, to do the meeting. If I have to come to you, it's $20,000 plus private air charter to get me and my assistant and my team to your location. What do we do in these meetings? It depends on the client. Everybody's different. So there's no template for this. So you get grilled. I send you a questionnaire. It's in-depth. It's nosy. It's poking its nose into places you don't want me to go, but I ask a lot of questions before you show up. I do a lot of study. I prepare like crazy before you get here. And when you get here, the first hour or so we're going to spend with me cross-examining you quite vigorously. And then I'll start finding for you the 1 to 3 levers you can pull in your business that will most likely generate the most return on investment, the most profit. And the idea is for the business owner, because it'll provide you with a life of less stress and more profit margin. And that's what every business owner wants. Then there's the occasional, very rare anymore, private client copy engagement. After a long time of saying repeatedly, I do not write copy for individual clients anymore, I relented. People began coming to me with offering me bigger and bigger checks and more interesting ideas about how we could work together until I started saying yes to a few people. These Day with Ray consultations sometimes result in a private copywriting engagement between me and the client. Now, for a long time, I said, I don't do that anymore. I just wouldn't do it. But people began offering me bigger checks and more interesting projects, and it seemed like more fun. Many of them have become my friends. So I started saying yes every now and then. So I'm always open to the possibility that you might have the next big project I want to work on, and we might work together. Possibly. It's very unlikely, but it's possible. This is exorbitantly expensive, out of most people's budget range. It's not because I'm arrogant. It's because I value my time above all things. Because it's the one unrenewable resource that we all have. And I'm very conscious of having less of it than others, I think. Not all others, but many others. Because I was diagnosed with Parkinson's disease in 2011, and it's gotten progressively worse. I recently had brain surgery, which restored a bunch of my function to me. It's like I wound the clock backwards about 8 years. So that's fantastic. However, and Parkinson's, by the way, is not a terminal disease. It's said that you die with it, not of it. And there's some debate about that, but I don't accept it as being terminal. We all have a terminal disease. It's sexually transmitted. It's called life. None of us makes it out alive. But I'm aware of the value of the time we have been given. And that is a rare commodity. So I value that above all things. I'm only going to work on things I'm passionately interested in, and I anticipate it's going to be fun and rewarding and helpful. It's going to feel good for me. It's going to be good for others. It's going to be good for the overall general good. And that's the kind of thing I want to work on. Maybe you want to write for private clients only. Maybe that's the only kind of business you want to do, because it means you don't have to make the investment in businesses. I have friends who do this kind of work and do it on a royalty basis. They contribute the copy and the marketing savvy to the whole thing, and they collect a piece of the action as the company grows. That's a possibility for you as well. Then there's group coaching programs. We have a couple of those. I have a certification program where I certify copywriters in my methods and my ethics, my principles we adhere to. I require that because if I certify you, I got to put my name under your name at the bottom of your contracts, metaphorically speaking, not legally speaking. So I'm backing you up. So I've got to know you have my same values. We have to be on the same page in terms of values and ethics and how we conduct business. It's a rigorous certification program. Some people would say it's difficult. Some people would say, Ray, make it easier. No, I'm going to make it harder because I want to make you better. So that's our certification program. Our group coaching program is in the Copywriting Academy. In writing, if people are learning how to write really good copy, I mean, you can learn to write mediocre copy by just watching a course or reading a book. But if you're going to learn to write really good copy, sizzling hot, like making products jump off the shelves kind of copy, then you got to have feedback from a real copywriter who's been there, who knows how to critique your copy and make it better, to push you till you become a better writer. That means you got to have personal coaching. So this is one of the reasons why we have so many people on our team, because I've certified a bunch of coaches who are working with our copywriters in the Copywriting Academy coaching program. We're doing copy coaching, coaching you on your copy that sells your products and services. So it's not just for writers, it's also for entrepreneurs who want to sell more of their products and services. In fact, that's the majority of our customers. Most people think these days that we only teach copywriters how to write copy and how to make money as copywriters. 70% of our customers are actually people who own businesses who want to know, how do I sell more tires for cars? How do I sell more golf memberships at our golf course? How do I sell more clients into our legal firm or our real estate firm? How do I sell more of our e-commerce stuff on Amazon? 70% of our clients are people who sell something other than copywriting or marketing. They're entrepreneurs who want to make money. So that's who's in this coaching program. And I love this coaching program. It's a lot of fun. It's not only is it a lot of fun, it's very helpful to the members. It's the greatest value I think we offer to the marketplace in terms of dollars invested versus value return you get back. I believe it's way over 10x in value return. If you want to check it out, you can do that. There'll be a link underneath wherever you see this content. You can go check it out yourself and make the decision on your own whether I'm right about that or not. But I'm right. Then we do workshops, like this workshop we're doing coming up called the Copywriting is a $1 Million Business Workshop. And these are the thing I have the most fun doing because I like interacting with people in that environment. I like seeing the light come on in your eyes when you realize, I get it. I understand how this works now. And I really like seeing people do stuff in the workshop because we pressure you to do that. Nobody gets to come to one of my workshops and just sit idly, inactively by and just absorbing things and nodding wisely as we go through the material. You have to actually do things while you're there. We're writing copy, we're building pages, we're setting up funnels while you're there so that you can actually get things done. And often, this is my goal for everybody, often people make money before they leave the workshop. That's how you have satisfied customers at workshops that are high dollar, expensive propositions. This one is $5,000. Just tell you right up front, there's no big secret, no big sales pitch. If you know it's right for you, you'll click on the link that comes with this content. You go take a look at it, you'll sign up and you come. If it's not right for you, you won't. And they'll go fast because there's only 12 seats. I think we only got 9 of them left right now as it is anyway. So that's what the workshops are like. I work really hard on these, harder than I should, really. If you did it just with a ledger and said, well, how much money does your business earn, Ray? How much do you make per hour? What's the value of your time per hour? How many hours do you put into these workshops? I put in more than I should, but I love doing this. So I put in just as much as I should because it's the thing I'm most passionate about that I'm doing these days. That and my private mastermind. So I have a private mastermind. It's paid, and it's a sizable investment. But the people who are in it are people I'm doing life with. It's not just I put people in a mastermind and let somebody run it for me. I'm in this mastermind with you. I'm doing it with you. I'm in the marketplace with you. We go through life together. We get together 2 or 3 times a year in person. We get together every week on the Zoom calls. And I love this group of people very much. And if you ever think you want to be part of that group, you can apply. We're full up right now, but we may have openings in the future. If we do, get on the waiting list and we can talk. No pressure. Again, it's either right for you or it's not. And that's pretty easy to figure out. Just takes a quick conversation. Affiliate commissions. We generate commissions through the recommendation of products and services that we ourselves use. This accounts for about 7% of our annual revenue each year, but about 18% of our profit. Why is it so profitable? Because it doesn't cost us anything to generate the product, the teaching, the training, the software. We just recommend it and we get a commission. So there's very little cost in it for us. So it's a very profitable activity. We do it a lot. Only stuff we believe in, only stuff we actually pay for and use ourselves. That's our guidelines. It doesn't have to be yours, but it's ours. So the final section about how I run my business to make $1 million as a copywriter. The next big piece of the puzzle is the client attraction model versus the client pursuit model. If you've ever tried to chase down new clients, you try to find them and prospect them and talk to them and do cold calling and all that stuff, you know how hard that can be and how ucky that can be. It just doesn't feel nice. So don't do that. It is my contention that client attraction is the foundation of the business. Long ago, I made up my mind. I did not want to chase clients down. I did not want to be that guy. I prefer instead to let business chase me. So I have carefully designed a ubiquitous system for attracting a steady flow of possible clients and customers from many different streams. This adds up to a large flow of potential business at all different levels of our company, various levels of engagement and investment, all swimming upstream if necessary. Some of the pools from which I attract business include this podcast. Now, this is one of the most intimate mediums available. Podcast listeners have me literally in their head for an hour or more each week. This is a curiously profitable endeavor with a smaller number of people. Numerous customers have listened to 1 to 3 episodes of a podcast, or now we started doing them in video on YouTube. They've watched 1 to 3 YouTube videos and then contacted our offices and invested somewhere between $5,000 and $25,000 on their first engagement with our company. A big change we made recently is we took YouTube out of the experimental category. Finally, because I'm quick to pick up on things, he said sarcastically. We're doing the podcast primarily for YouTube first, and then we remixed the audio as our audio podcast. And we did it that way because more and more people are listening to podcasts on YouTube. And I said listening to podcasts on YouTube, even though there's a video. YouTube has begun highlighting podcasts. They have a podcast page, a podcast area in your feed. This is a big coming thing. And it's a wonderful opportunity for you to get new audience at no cost because it's free. You can complain about big tech, but it's free. Free audience building. I know some people are worried that YouTube might not like what you're talking about. They may shut you down. They're trying to stop certain messages from getting out there. I wouldn't worry about all that. I don't think that's true. I'm just being honest with you. I don't think it's true. As long as you're not doing something nefariously wrong, I think you're okay. So the YouTube channel is a big part of what we do. It's our long form video, our audio podcast. Then we start cutting it up into little pieces, and we use those little pieces on social media. Social media, I think, is not the best place to sell your stuff, but it's the best place to find people who will eventually buy your stuff. And you can move them from social media onto your email list, from your email list onto your podcast. Once they're on your email list, you begin solving their problems for a profit. That's called being in business. We have a printed newsletter we send in the mail. It is $97 a month. It's one of our lowest priced offerings anywhere. It's not only a product, though, it's a marketing tool. Since the largest primary segment of my audience is made up of writers, meaning presumably they're also readers, having a print newsletter is vitally important to me. Print media carries more impact than electronic media in many cases. This is not something I'm guessing at. According to the Millward-Brown study, showed that the same message printed on paper lights up more areas of the brain than the electronic equivalent. More areas of the brain lighting up means more engagement, means more sales, means more profits for you ultimately, and more help for your clients because they're paying more attention to what you're saying. They're putting more importance on it. They're putting more of their imagination and their visualization powers into it so they get better results because that's how it works. Where focus goes, energy flows. Printed materials help direct focus. Then they're speaking. This is a way that I accomplish a number of objectives all at once. For instance, I like to travel. I want to travel to fun places. So I have a speaking engagement in San Diego next week at Social Media Marketing World. I like going to San Diego. Haven't been there in 3 years, since March of 2020. Gee, what happened in March of 2020? Oh, the recent unpleasantness. So going back for Social Media Marketing World, looking forward to that. That's one reason I speak, because I get to go places I like to go. Secondly, I get to hang out with people I like to hang out with. Like my friends who are in the same kind of businesses. One of my friends is Mike Stelzner, who runs and owns Social Media Examiner, and Social Media Marketing World is his conference. And the other members of my personal mastermind group, the Green Room Mastermind, will all be there. We'll be hanging out together, having our traditional dinner that we have at the end of each Social Media Marketing World engagement. So that's a lot of fun. This will also afford me the opportunity to make contact with a new group of people, new potential customers, new potential joint venture partners, people who may want to promote my upcoming book, which is called Read This or Die, Persuading Yourself to a Better Life, which is available at Amazon right now for pre-orders. We have some good reasons you want to do that. Some great, valuable stuff you're getting for free. As far as generating clients, this has been traditionally, the travel and speaking, has been an indirect method of generating clients. It's becoming a more direct method of doing so now because I'm able to accelerate the conversation in a way I want it to happen. When the clients come to me, I'm not chasing them at this event. They're coming to me. I'm speaking, so I'm sought after. I'm not bragging. I'm just telling you that's how it works. It's why you want to speak. And you can turn conversations into cash flow at these conferences because of that phenomenon right there. So speaking is a very important part of the picture. Then there are books. Both physical and Kindle versions of my books are available. Audio versions as well. How to Write Copy That Sells is my biggest selling book so far. My upcoming book is called Read This or Die, Persuading Yourself to a Better Life. This is the book if you want to use the power of copy and advertising to send an advertising and marketing campaign to your subconscious mind to change your life, to make your life better if you're up against it. For instance, if you've been given a diagnosis like Parkinson's disease and you have to decide either give up and die or change your life, then you can persuade yourself to change your life using the techniques we use to sell stuff to people in marketing and advertising. That's what the book is about. It tells you how to do that. I found myself with my back against that particular wall at a point a few years ago, and I tried so many things. I tried self-help. I tried seminars. I tried workshops. I went to church. I got prayed for. It's all good. I love all that stuff. It's important. You should do those things. And I had to do something else because all that wasn't really getting me where I needed to go. So I turned to what I know. I wrote myself a sales letter. That's what the new book is about. That's a pretty compelling hook. I know that because every time I tell people that story, they're like, how do you do that? I want to write myself one of them sales letters. That's what the book's about. That gets me on podcasts and on YouTube channels, in video interviews, audio interviews, on webinars, so I get exposed to new audiences. Those people sign up for my list. Building your list is how you build your equity in your business so you can sell things to the list. As many people have said before me, the money is in the list, and then people came along and said, no, the money's in the relationship you have with the list. And that's both things are true, but you got to have a list if you're going to have a relationship, so the money's in the list. So building a business like this may sound like it's super complex. It's not really. You can do it with minimal staff. When I started out, I had no staff at all for the first couple of years. Then I had 1 or 2 virtual assistants. You can still do it that way with automated processes like ChatGPT. You can go without any additional help at all for a long time because ChatGPT can do the work of several different people. And we cover this whole AI thing in the workshop. We get into depth about how do you use it as a copywriter so you're not being replaced, but you're using it to replace your own efforts, to do 10 times the work with 1/3 the effort. Not only do we cover it in depth, we actually dig in and use it to start building your pages, writing the documents you need to build your business, et cetera, et cetera. Just a few more recommendations before we finish up here. I promise I'm wrapping up soon. But absorb this. This is going to help you. You've got to prioritize your productivity. I place priority on stewarding my most valuable, non-renewable resource, time, as if it is a treasure, because it is a treasure. Thus, productivity gets priority. I have a morning success ritual. This is vital to my most productive days. While I don't manage to get all this in every day, I'm getting better at it. My goal is to achieve 90% compliance with this routine every day of my life. Next is my fortress of solitude. Now, I'm not pretending to be Superman or even remotely like Superman. I do take inspiration from the Man of Steel's secret hideaway. This is the place where he goes to think, to learn, to plan, to write, to rejuvenate. Your fortress of solitude can begin as a set of productivity principles and boundaries you create to give yourself that solitude that you need every day. So, first of all, I suggest beginning with never answering incoming business calls. They're always screened. In my case, they're always screened, dealt with, and if I really need to speak with the person, a call is set up for call day. I only have 1 call day per week. I don't check email, and I only get 1 email each day that I do read. My auto check feature in Apple Mail is turned off. I only check it when I've pressed the check email button. I check it 1 time per day, and I get 1 email that I'm guaranteed to read every day. That's the email from my assistant who puts everything into a digest for me, gives me all the people I need to call, responses she needs from me to respond to people's requests, everything that came in the email that day that I need to know about, phone meetings, Zoom meetings, conversations. My default time for a meeting is 15 minutes. If you can't accomplish the meeting's objective in 15 minutes, you're either solving a world-class problem, like a problem that's a problem for the whole globe, or you're doing it wrong. 15 minutes, that's the time for a meeting. I hate instant messengers of any flavor. I'm looking at you, Slack. You're promised to be the panacea that would solve all these problems for us. You become the biggest problem of all. I hate text messages. In my business, and as a writer in your business, or if you're writing for a different kind of business, but you're primarily fulfilling the marketing piece of writing, which you should be, then you too will come to loathe any kind of interruption to your flow. I get into flow. I like to sit there all day and work on the things I'm good at. I work on the things that only I can work on in my company. Being the face of the business. Being the person who's generating this content like you're listening to right now or watching right now. Writing the books. Those are the things that only I can do. That's what I want to be doing. Not having meetings, checking instant messenger, looking at Zoom presentations and slideshows, etc., etc., etc. Office hours. Yes, I have an office outside my home. I lease it currently. I'm considering buying an office building right now. I keep regular hours most of the time. Mostly it's Monday through Thursday, 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. Pacific. Why the emphasis on not being interrupted? Interruptions cost you dearly. As a writer, I know that allowing myself to be interrupted by a client or a vendor, hey, Ray, got a minute to talk about that new logo? Can seem harmless, but it isn't. That interruption cost me, A, the state of flow I was in while I was working. It may be impossible to recover. B, the time of the interruption itself. And C, the time it takes me to get back into the same zone with what I was working on. So I've lost a minimum of a half an hour or more with every interruption. I cannot afford to let that happen, and neither can you. My clients and customers cannot afford for me to let that happen. Once upon a time, I had a client who loved to call me at 11 p.m. at night and talk for 2 to 3 hours. I tried to tell him I worked set hours and that I was available at those times, but he didn't seem to understand. So when our first project was completed, I fired him. His dysfunction did not automatically become my problem. Be warned, People will waste your time if you let them. Will you let them? Be polite, be loving, but don't be a victim of their mismanagement of time. In the end, if you guard your time, you're being most respectful of other people. Think about it. If you allow yourself to be interrupted or your time wasted when you should have been doing something else, who suffers? You're not serving anyone by being a poor steward of your time. If you want to go deeper, if you want to come hang out with me in Spokane, Washington for 3 days in my secret headquarters and build your business together. I mean, we're going to formulate your business plan tailored to your specific situation, which is going to be different from all the other people at the workshop. There's 12 people total there. Plenty of time for me to work with everybody. I will work with everybody. I'll be looking at your work you produce. Here's what's really exciting me right now. Before, when I did these workshops, there was a problem. And the problem was, while people made money and did really, really well, and we never had a refund of all these workshops we've done, one of the problems was people could not write as fast as me, so I got frustrated. It was a stumbling block because people just generally don't write 5,000 words an hour until AI. Now, everybody in the workshop will have access to our AI agent. It's called Clarity Scribe. You get access to it for a year, unlimited. But in the workshop, we're going to use it to build all your pages, to write all your copy to get your business set up. And we're going to go through all the strategic influence documents and the system of integrated marketing that I'm going to have you set up for your business with a custom designed plan and schedule for you and your business and your customers. And we're going to get it all written because we're going to use AI to do it. It's going to go super fast. Literally, I'm going to have you compress the decades of experience I have into days for you, but only if you're here so I can help you. I really want to help you. So I hope if this rings true for you, if this rings like something you want to do, I hope you'll make whatever changes in your schedule you need to make. I hope you'll do whatever you need to do to get here. April 19, 20, and 21 for this workshop. One time only. When the 12 seats are gone, we're done. So you got to be here if you want this. Go to the URL you see below this content, register, make your deposit, and you and I will have a conversation. You must actually go through an enrollment application process, which involves a Zoom call with me personally to make sure this is going to be a good fit. Because I can't afford to have anybody in the room for whom it's not a good fit because that'll slow everybody else down. So we're going to talk. We're going to figure out if it works or not. No high pressure. Just make your deposit. Let's talk. If it's not right, I'll just completely refund your deposit. We'll be friends. It'll be great. Regardless of whether you come to the workshop and we build your business together or whether you take the ideas I've given you today and you begin building something on your own, I'd love to hear your success story. So be sure and ping me back on the socials. All the links are below. I'm Ray Edwards on most all social media channels. I hang out primarily on TikTok and Instagram and Facebook. Love to see you there. Until next time, I pray that you live long and you prosper with purpose. See you in the next video.